boiler wood. Boiler wood. Boiler wood. And let me tell you, burning that stuff is a royal pain in the butt. I had the tractor running the other day, loading up some wood to refill the roadside stand, and when I got up and sat down, the tractor died. I wasn't sure what was going on, and then I looked, and there's a little wire that is connected to a sensor for the seat. And if you're not in the seat, when the tractor is in gear, the engine shuts off. So that little wire had snapped. So I was like, oh, fabulous. Like I need another reminder that I need to lose some weight. So I got the area over here that I was clearing out last week. I got it all pretty much cleaned up. I got the tree moved out of here. I got the brush kind of cleaned up. And now that I have this nice open free space, why not utilize it? And this is going to be where I line up my IBC totes to take into the woodshed for the boiler. And I've mentioned this before, but I'll mention it again because some people are always wondering why sometimes when I'm loading the totes and moving them around, why I don't turn them a certain way. And I have this opening in the cage that I always need to be facing to the left of the tote. So when I bring it into the woodshed, that is the side that I take the wood out of to load the boiler. So I line these all up the same way. So this is going to work nice to be able to drive in, load up these totes, back up, and then just drive right up to the woodshed. And speaking of bringing wood into the woodshed for the boiler, you'll often hear the term boiler wood. I even use it myself. I refer to what I make for my own personal use as boiler wood. But the only reason that I refer to it as boiler wood is because it's wood that I'm burning in my outdoor wood boiler. I don't really think of boiler wood as anything different than other firewood. For example, right over here, I just walked past it. This is a stack of future quote unquote boiler wood for myself. And all this is just larger split pieces of firewood. But there are people who sell firewood, and there are people out there who refer to boiler wood as kind of like a lower class of firewood. Hunks, chunks, cut-offs, odd-shaped pieces. And yes, I do get some of that, and I have been burning some of that. The last two totes actually have been odd-shaped hunks and chunks. And let me tell you, burning that stuff is a royal pain in the butt. And I'll explain in a little bit when we go up to the boiler. But let me show you some of the next boiler wood that I'm going to be taking into the woodshed. So I've got my empty IBC totes lined up right here. I'm just waiting for my tote loader. But this is the wood that's going into the woodshed to burn next in the wood boiler. It's pretty much regular size, cut to 16-inch pieces of firewood. Yes, there's a few that are a little bigger. They are larger diameter, like this. This is a good size piece. But there's nothing that's too crazy as far as shapes and just oddball chunks. Nothing like this right here, for example. These big, just unsplit chunks of boiler wood. That stuff right there, that to me is just becoming a bigger pain in the butt. And I will be splitting this and using it in my boiler, but I will split it. And some of you may wonder why I don't cut my boiler wood longer, 20-inch, 24-inch. And one reason is I always kind of think of, in the future, if I ever needed to sell or ever wanted to sell, like if I have a whole bunch of extra wood for myself and I ever wanted to sell that, I wouldn't want it to be cut longer than what people are typically expecting, around 16 inches. So that's why I don't get into cutting my own personal wood longer, like 20 plus inches. The other thing is it just becomes that much more difficult to handle. Now there are people out there who will say, you don't need seasoned wood in an outdoor wood boiler. You can just burn it green. You can just go out, cut the tree down this morning, cut off a round, and if it fits through the door, stick it in. But I say, you should not have skipped science class in high school because water does not burn. So I prefer to split all of the wood that I intend to burn in my boiler. So I still have one of those totes in here with like some of these, like these are the chunks. This little 8-9 inch piece. Here's another. These chunks, yes, they will burn. All of this will burn, yes. But it just ends up being, for me anyway, a pain in the butt. And it becomes a pain in the butt for this reason right here. So one of the chunks has rolled down and it was now right in front of the door where when the blower turns on, the air gets forced in. So this essentially was blocking the air from getting to the fire. So you might be able to see it better now. But yeah, so pieces end up rolling and falling off of your pile. And you can see now, like right here, this piece, look, it's just a little chunk, a little hunk. I have got this thing just loaded up with all of this oddball shaped wood. And yes, again, it will burn, but when it comes to loading it, I had to throw each of these little pieces in one at a time, toss them in there, and then they don't stack up very nicely. And even if you can get them to stack up, when the air is forced in there and the fire burns kind of from the center, the pieces on the top end up falling down to the front, and then that blocks the air going in when the blower turns on again. So again, this is all personal preference. What I like to burn in my wood boiler, like right here, this is a great piece of boiler wood. This right here is another excellent piece of firewood. Because what you can do when you load the boiler is I can make a stack. I can stack these up 4 across, 4 to 5 high. I can get all those pieces in there nicely stacked, and when they burn, they're not falling down, they're not rolling around, they are not little oddball shaped pieces like this. So just something to keep in mind, again, if you are either looking for, or maybe you're making your own boiler wood and you're leaving all those hunks and chunks set aside for next year or future use, just like keep in mind, what I did here was I had that same thought. I put all these hunks and odd-shaped chunks. I set them aside a year, 2 years ago thinking, oh, I'll just put that in the boiler one day. Well, that day is here. That day has come and gone, actually, because the first 2 totes of that stuff, I don't think I want to do that again. Beware of the boiler wood. So now, if you want to see how we load up these IBC totes before we bring them into the woodshed, and you're curious as to how much wood we have in our inventory to burn throughout the rest of the burning season, go ahead and check out this video right here. We'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching. Stay safe, have fun, and be cool.